Now going back to the 200 TDI camshaft bearings. I've received the camshaft bearings and Claude's not there at the machine shop. Well, I don't think he is. I've been trying to contact him, I don't know where he is, but it doesn't really matter because I saw this on Amazon and I thought I'd give it a go. It's a box. What's in the box? Angelos. Now this usually sells for quite a lot of money, but I found this. Oh, it's a box within the box. Look at this. It's typical Amazon. But look at the packing paper, as if that's going to serve anything. So let's have a look at something a bit more reasonable. I should have taken it out of that box first, shouldn't I? I saw this and I thought, wow, I'll give that a go because this could be just a fine and dandy tool for me. What is it? Well, it's a box of misplaced bits. It's actually a camshaft bush installation tool, universal for the use of. Now, it's got a bit higgledy-piggledy, so let me sort this out and I'll come back. So naturally, being an Amazon cheapo toolkit, this was $67 plus tax, but when I was looking, you have to look through Amazon and find some deals because they're usually retailing about 150 bucks. I won't pay that much. And it wasn't even in warehouse deals, it was just a retail sale. So what's it do? Well, it puts bushes, it knocks bushes in and it knocks bushes out. Now this is a tool I usually use, this one here. It's a bit awkward, that's why I usually ask Claude to do it. The bushes are split. They're not like joined together. And this goes in, and this makes my life a little bit difficult using this tool for knocking them out. But for putting them in, could be interesting. So I thought, I saw this thing and I've seen quite a few people using them, but I've never seen one myself. Today's the day. So what we've got here, we've got a long aluminium tube with a steel end on, so I assume that's for knocking it in. And then this goes, well, we won't put that on yet. So this goes on here, and on here we've got some sort of a tapered arrangement. Now you can see there's already a little place for a cam bush on there, and if we turn that, that will expand and grip round the inside of the bush. So what we need to do is find something that's smaller, so that's good. We need to take that out. So the rubber's there to protect the bush, and by tightening that up, that's just the right size. That expands that. Oh, it's interesting, isn't it? Because so that bush now can be pushed in. Let me go. Right, so here's the tool used in anger to remove the bushes. It's a right mess about, but it does work. I have a problem with it. I'll get the bushes out and I'll show you. So we'll start from this end. We'll work through. We'll get to this back one. There we go. Press the cone in and just tap away. And there we've got the bearing on the thing there. And that's nicely clinched up. That's the back one. That's the one that usually spins. Because the bushings are the same diameter on the exterior, so that's not a great big thing. What my problem is how do we line up the bushings to line up with the oil hole? This is the most important thing. You see this oil hole here. And of course, you can see these are kind of oily on the back. They should be kind of dry. And I want to put some retaining compound on those. So, how am I going to get the bush to line up when I've got this tool on here knocking it in? I can't see the hole, and I don't want to be putting it in and out and in and out. I really don't know. Here's something interesting. Remember I said that this block's a 200 TDI block and they had a habit of the bearings turning at the back. Well, when I look into there, I put my flashlight inside and look at that. You can see there's bearing retainer in there, and you can see there's bearing retainer on this bush to stop it coming out. Isn't that interesting? I wonder if it spun a bearing in the past. These are clean here. Anyway, I was going to put this bearing in like this. Now you can see I put a little white mark on there where the oil way is. I was just about to offer this up like this and line up the oil way here. Oh, there's not much room to work. So line up the oil way there and then put another mark on the inside where the bush is, because they've got to go from this way, I think. I don't know if you can go from that way. No, because that's going to be more tricky. Because you need the long shaft has to go through here to keep it straight. Now how the hell am I going to get that out of there? I wonder if I've got one of those flap wheel things to clean it out. Well, this seemed to work. Same size as a core plug. It's polished that up really nice without taking any metal off. That's nice, I'm happy with that. I don't know about the rest. The problem is with the die grinder, I can't get the bloody thing in. I need a longer shaft. Can you remember a while back I cleaned an axle tube out with a wire brush like this? It happens to be the same diameter. So we've already cleaned one out. Well, you missed it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my big tool to clean out these brushes. I'll put my flashlight down there. Being a wire brush, it won't cause any damage. I've already done that far end one because that's where my flashlight is. Brilliant. So all we've got to do now is clean that out, and I can go back to using my massive tool again. Right, so I've got a bit of retaining compound on there. That's the same stuff that we used to use on the core plugs. We've never lost a patient yet. So I'm going to try and, I can see where the oil hole is. This is going to be a bitch to get in, but went in. That was a spare one. Tight. I'm not going to drop that in. Right, I've got to take it out and see where the oil hole is. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Wants to go just a little bit more. So you can see there the oil hole's in line. So the next one, we'll do this one here. Oh, that's not too bad. Right, they're going in, I'm on to the last one. I just wanted to show you something. I think we've pointed this out before. The bushings, the newer type of bushings are different. You can see that's where the oil hole lines up to, from the crank. If you turn around here, you see there's a bigger hole here and a small hole there. They've reduced the size of the oil passage to the rocker shaft. So it's going to be really important to get that in line. Like I say, it's a good tool, but by gum, you've got to be patient and take your time. It's fiddly because you can't get into market properly, but they are lining up nice. The airline, we can use the airline for testing that, and especially this front one, because you don't want this one to be out of whack. So we can put the airline through here, and we can feel air coming through there, so we know that's good. And similarly for the bottom, not a problem. This one, okay, get in there. Yep. Excellent. So they're all lined up. They're not easy to put in, but they're going to be good. Now these are from a certain engineering company which I cannot name because they use artificial intelligence for looking at anything derogatory that I might say. So I'm not going to say where they came from, but they were pre-reamed. Usually you have to put a reamer through these. People get very excited to say they should use the standard ones and then ream them. I have never in 40 years seen a reamer for one of these. I don't even think they exist now. I don't know, because these are like for the old series and stuff like that, but it's a really fancy affair to ream these bushes out. So I haven't seen one, and I'm not going to make one. If the bushes come pre-reamed, now it'd be interesting to see what sizes they actually are from standard. Like when you buy them from Britpart, they're sort of just standard sizes they need reaming. You can't get your cam in. Quite a few people have found that out. But this one should get the cam in. Let's try. Now this is just for trying the cam. I'm just going to put some regular oil on, because then I can clean them out and put some of the heavier stuff on there, so I can, for running in and things like that. So let's just try it with that bit of oil on there. They are tricky to put in these cams. Yep, nothing wrong with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the final core plug in the back of here while I've got all my gear out, and then we're going to cover this in plastic, make sure there's no dusting. But like I say, I'm going to take the cam out again when we get all the rest of the parts. We're missing some thrust washers, believe it or not, so that's holding this job up. So yesterday, when I received this tool, I received it with no instructions whatsoever. And what you didn't see was this little magic cone at the end. And what you're supposed to do with it is put this in one end of the engine block, and this, at the other end, is going to bang in your bush, like this, camshaft bush. Just a little thing about these camshaft bushes, because perhaps people don't know. There's no joint in them. It's just open, and how they make them, it's just a flat sheet of metal, and then they roll it to this piece here. There's nothing fancy about them. Some of the American ones, where's that joint again? Here. Some of the American ones have a fancy like jigsaw type of joint, so it keeps them together. So what we do in effect is we push that onto this rubber, and that will hit against this shoulder. So if you're knocking it out, this shoulder will do the work. Now if you're pushing it in, this shoulder keeps it in place. But if I turn it back to the joint when I can find it, where is it now? Oh yeah, here it is. If you tighten this up, you can see the rubber's expanding because this is on a taper, but you don't want it too wide because otherwise you'll never get it in. So there were some tricky bits about it. So what you're doing is, in effect, if you're doing this end of the block, you line up your bush, put that cone into this end, bang this one in, and the bearing here will go in, and it's protected by that rubber. It's a really good idea. But, here's the but. It's not Kim Kardashian's ass either. The problem with these is you've got to align the oil hole up. And I thought about this last night because I was trying to offer this in and put a mark on with a white marker to show the correct orientation. Now, thinking about it last night, what I should have done is approximately put this in place, tap it in for about 1 millimetre, 2 millimetres, just to clinch it. Withdraw this and keep that bearing in place in the block. Observe where this hole is here. Mark up the block and the bush together, and then calculate how much orientation you need to turn it, how many degrees. Take it out and do it again, but make sure that the marks are lined up, and then you'll get it absolutely spot on. A lot of the time with this one I was just sort of guessing it a little bit, but it turned out perfectly. Now before I run out of battery, I want to show you something that I'm asked quite often. On the top of the TDI blocks there are plugs here, here, here. What the hell are they for? Because sometimes on the 300 TDI they put plastic plugs in, but this is full of silicone. This is the drilling that goes through the block all the way to the crankshaft, and then it's plugged with a steel plug, and then they just put some silicone on to stop water getting in and make it going rusty. And that in turn drills this hole in the block from all the way through, but you're going to plug this side up so there's, you know, it's not open to the elements. So the oil comes through here from your crankshaft up and oils this bearing, but doesn't come out here. So that should answer the question why these are plugged up. They're okay, don't bother with them. Alright, so I hope that's clear. I like that tool. I would have liked it with some instructions. I should have actually looked at some YouTube videos and seen how it works, but they're quite easy to work out. And now, having used some like retaining compound on the bearings, I know they're not going to turn or come out, and it turns really, really beautifully. I don't know if I've got my spanner here anymore. Wait a minute, have I got it here? Found the spanner. This camshaft turns lovely. You just need that initial turn on it to turn it, but after that you can turn it by hand, and it's really nice. It's not binding on anything, there's no high spots, so the protection on those with those rubbery things here will really work out well. If you did it metal to metal, you know, you could get JP to make you a thing, there's a risk of knocking the bush and damaging it, and that's the last thing you want to do, because they're not the cheapest of things, and they're not the easiest things to get hold of. That's the problem. But now I've got that, I'm going to sack Claude. All you can do now is do rebores. I can do the bushings myself. Just as a little, whilst I'm still on with this subject, if I see the bushings are really, really, really good, really, really good, there's no wear in them at all. I have an old camshaft here that had some damage to one of the cam lobes, and I keep that and I install it whilst I'm sandblasting the block, so the bearings don't get damaged. You see, that's how I do that, so I don't have to replace them, because it's not the sort of thing you do every day. But these were pretty grotty before I even sandblasted it, so I just sandblasted it and did it like. I know sandblasting's the only way to do these blocks for me personally. I don't know whether there's any acid baths, but then again, if it was acid bath, you'd still have to take the bushings out, because they wouldn't last 5 minutes. You know, they just disintegrate, so you can't win, can you? It's like life, isn't it? See ya.